Welcome to the Vinyl Den segment on channel 33 RPM. This is where we check out cool music rooms from across the vinyl community and around the world. I have some killer music rooms to show you today. Alright, check this one out. This first one blew my mind, man. It blew my mind. This comes from Jim. He says, my name is Jim Hollister. I am a 55-year-old Desert Storm veteran. I live in Phoenix, Arizona, USA. And he says he's been collecting and has been an audiophile since the age of 14. He says his theater listening room is a former family room. It is 16 and a half feet deep and 17 and a half feet wide with a sunken floor. The carpet is black, and I also painted the acoustic ceiling black with 2 shades of purple walls. This looks awesome, man. It's like when you go to a high-end audio store and they have the listening room they can kind of go into to check stuff out. That's what Jim's living space here looks like. Okay, I'm going to go through some of Jim's gear because this is bananas too. His equipment includes a 98-inch Sony TV, a custom-made 2-channel tube amp, Marantz digital processor, a New Force 5-channel amp, a Marantz Laserdisc player with a Nakamichi demodulator. But demodulator is a device that extracts the audio from the Laserdisc and it outputs it to your stereo system via optical cable or coaxial cable. So I think that's what it does anyway. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. What other gear does Jim have here? He's got a Celestial audio center channel, a Panasonic 4K Ultra Blu-ray player, 2 Emotiva mono block amps, a Monster power conditioner, a Basis Audio 1400 turntable with a Riga 750 arm, and a Benz Micro LPS top of the line cartridge. That's a mouthful, but this is all premium gear, man. Super premium. I would love to hear that. That cartridge alone retails for over $5,000. I'd be scared. I'd be scared to touch it. I'd be scared to break the stylus. Something you obviously have to be really careful with. Jim, I'd love to hear this system, man. That's awesome. He also has an RCAM 24-bit DAC CD player, a Marantz HD CD recorder, a Nakamichi Dragon cassette deck, and highly modified Serwin Vega PD9s, and about $5,000 worth of cabling just to hook all of this up. I mean, this is something I would aspire to, but I don't think I'll ever reach this level of audiophile grade equipment, both for music and movies. I mean, even the chairs, even those chairs, man, the theater seating, just this whole thing is wicked. Awesome. I mean, I'm almost speechless looking at the quality of all this gear, Jim. It's just amazing. And I would be curious to know where you're going to go next. Is this the pinnacle? Is this the pinnacle? Is this where you always imagine, or can this go further, right? Because audiophiles and music fans, you know, are never done in their upgrade journey. So I wonder where Jim can go with this next. Very cool, Spaceman. Okay, Paul Fraser from Ontario, Canada. He writes, my humble setup keeps me happy, and I've managed to cram as much stuff into this 12 by 10 spare room in our music house as possible. I'm constantly or consistently impressed with how well viewers use their space. My room is 10 by 10. I think I've stuffed everything in here the best I can. And it's a fine line too between being stuffed and having a space that works, right? And I think Paul's space here definitely works. He says he's 51 years old and a longtime music lover from working in a record store in the 80s. He has north of 450 albums, almost all original pressings, with the exception of only 7 that are 180-gram releases. He says he has 150 cassettes and over 600 CDs. And he says, weirdly, I would wager I listen to CDs more than vinyl. Interesting choice of words, saying weirdly. I don't think there's anything weird about that, right? You got to kind of go with what you like. And CDs are definitely more convenient than records. And, you know, there's this debate, what sounds better, CDs or vinyl? And really, vinyl can sometimes sound better, and CDs can also sometimes sound better. It all comes down to personal preference. He says his gear includes a Fluence RT85 turntable with a 2M red Ortophone cartridge. Again, Fluence and Ortophone, both super popular. Paul, cool spaceman. Thank you for sending over the pics. Okay, well, this one is different. I can say I have never seen a music room quite like this one. Check it out. This comes from David. He is from Oakville, Ontario in Canada, and he writes, I think you'll find that this room is a little different than what you've previously shown on your channel. I have a smallish, dedicated 10 by 10 room. He says the room, which we dubbed simply as the library, has been a pet project by my wife and I. He says we took a lot of inspiration from the Royal York Hotel in Toronto. It's this grand old hotel across the street from the train station there. He says the record shelf is custom made locally from solid mahogany. In it is a smallish but carefully sifted record collection of about 340 records. The chair is also a local custom made chair. That's cool, man. I don't hear a lot of people in these Vinyl Den episodes talking about custom-made furniture, but David has definitely gone there. He says his equipment consists of a Riga Planner 10 turntable with a Affetta, I hope I'm not butchering that pronunciation, an Affetta 3 cartridge. A cartridge, man, it retails for over $2,000. So David, a unique music room. I dig it. Thank you for sharing. All right, this comes from Kevin in Milwaukee, USA. This is some trippy yet cool stuff. Kevin is 35 years old. He's been collecting since 2015. His first record was Pink Floyd Animals, and he bought it when he didn't even own a turntable. That's cool, because, you know, we read a lot of facts and stats about people buying records that don't even own a turntable. People are like, why bother buying it? But it can end in a happy ending once in a while here, right? Like with Kevin, he bought that record, and now he owns all this cool gear. He says his vinyl room is located in the basement of his house. He says it's far from fancy, but it gets the job done. I did the framing, drywall, carpet tiles myself. One small thing, the flip-style bin holder next to the door was hand-built by me, and it's my favorite storage space. It feels like a record store. Hope you enjoy. Very cool, man. If I could do it again, I would have some flip-out bins here, I think, instead of the IKEA shelves. It'd be fun, right? That whole record store experience in your house. It's cool. Kevin's equipment includes his receiver is a Pioneer SX636. He says it's his prized possession. I absolutely love this thing, as do I. That is the same receiver that I grew up with. That's what we had in our home. And when I moved out, I had it, and I kept it until around 2006, 2007. It stopped working, and stupidly, I threw it out in the trash. Yes, I threw it out in the trash. I can't believe it. I should have got it repaired. I didn't know what I had. I didn't know what I was doing, and I miss that receiver to this very day. Speakers include some Radio Shack Nova 8s, which have been recapped. He says those are surprisingly great speakers. I've auditioned multiple speakers that cost way more than these, and these just kept winning. His turntable is a Project Debut Carbon Esprit DC, the Beatles 1964 limited edition, and he uses an Ortophone 3M Red, but the blue is on his want list. In his home theater, he has an Epson 3020 1080p projector, a 135-inch fixed frame screen, and for speakers, he has a 5.1 system with Pioneers designed by Andrew Jones. Andrew Jones is a famed loudspeaker designer, and his Pioneer speakers are well known for being affordable yet sounding excellent. I've never heard of them. I've read a lot about them, and I'd be curious to hear them myself someday. And what else? What else does he tell us? He owns 1,200 LPs, 1,000 CDs, not shown these pictures, and about 800 Blu-rays, not all of which are shown in the pictures. Awesome setup, man. Music, film, home, theater, all among my favorite things. Great spaceman. Cheers. All right, this next one comes from Gary. Gary is 60 years old and lives in Kamloops, British Columbia, Canada. And he writes, growing up, I had a decent record collection. After moving in the mid-'80s and through the CD era, I sold off much of my collection and equipment. A story here quite often. People sold off all their collections and kind of in later years went back and started repurchasing what they had. Gary's setup includes a Technics turntable, an Onkyo amp, and Paradigm monitor speakers. He says it resided in our living room for a number of years. About 2.5 years ago, I upgraded my turntable to a Fluence RT85. Again, Fluence, The RT85 in particular has to be one of the most common turntables in the vinyl community, maybe tied with the Audio-Technica LP120. Those two, men, they're all the way up there. Super popular. He says he put the Techniques in the storage. About 6 months later, though, I remembered I had a pair of Paradigm bookshelves in storage, and the idea for a second setup or vinyl den was started. Gary writes, I converted a downstairs bedroom into the new vinyl den. We had a unique old wooden chest that I used for the stand, bought a 70s Sansui amp, moved the fluence down, and hooked up the bookshelves. It's a small room and the smaller setup, but it suits us just fine for now. It says the upstairs setup is used mostly for casual listening, while the downstairs den is set up for more active and focused listening. My record collection is just over 430 albums right now. It consists predominantly of 60s and 70s classic rock, and I have been adding a number of jazz titles more recently. What really stands out to me with this music space is kind of some of the rustic furniture, right? Like that bench that the stereo is set up on. I love the look of that. Very cool. And the living room setup also looks pretty chill, man. Good place to hang out. I love the space. All right, 33ers, what did you think of the selection of vinyl dens in today's episode? Let me know in the comments. And again, if you are interested in submitting your vinyl den, all the information you need to know is in the description below this video. Thank you for watching. I'll be back again really soon. Until then, keep on spinning.